S is superior, A is amazing, B is beautiful, C is charismatic, they have a nice personality, and D is delicious. If we want to know the terms of the class system, those are it. So go ahead and put Lisa. She's very charismatic. She's a charismatic lady. She likes books and stuff, and we got Noelle. She likes to carry around a big old sword, and you get her for free. Everyone gets upset. She's actually really good when you get her like constellated up to like C4 and C6, but before then, her usability is only very specific to just a tank, in my opinion. You know, I like Barbara in design. I got her constellated within the first like week or two because of the event, and I think I was excited, and I liked Venti. And yeah, I'm actually really upset with her because I got a lot of her dupes after I got her all the way skilled up. So she goes in the B column for beautiful. Then we're going to look at, let's see, who's the other B column one? Ooh, Xenon. I just feel like Xenon was very underwhelming when she came out. She's got some really nice buffs as a support unit. I just don't like a support unit with a Claymore. It's really slow acting. But if you get her constellation up, she can be a really useful support for someone like Razer. And she complements him really well. And I've even seen some builds with him, but it's a very specific niche. Outside of that, I don't see her used super often. I don't know. I just don't like the fact that she's placed more in physical when Pyro itself has always benefited more on the Pyro element over its physical attack percentage. But maybe that's just me. And the last one, Beto. I like Beto. I think she's fantastic. I actually was really torn when I didn't build her because I chose Chongyon over her because I have her now at C6. She sounds amazing in terms of her kit, and I love her mechanic of being able to parry. I've played her a few times, and she's actually extremely good with the Battle Pass weapon, and if you pair her with Iona and Jin Chi, it's insane, especially because it triggers like the chain lightning. You basically make everything thick wet and then just electrocute everything, which is super cool. I think I played it in one of my videos about, I think it was the Battle Pass weapon one when I was reviewing the Serpent Spine. I will tell you right now, you got Beto, Serpent Spine works really, really well if you have a shield character. And I just think that Cryo makes the most sense, so Diona I love Diona. I'm biased. Okay, now comes the bias section. B is not biased, by the way. The amazing section's biased. And most of these characters I have used, so this is kind of where this is coming from. And yes, I'm kind of just ranking it based on what order rather than just going through them all. Maybe, is that bad? I think you guys kind of already know what to expect now. I'm not going to start over though. It's not happening. This is my first tier list. Give me a break. Okay, so we got Klee. Now, a lot of people would disagree with me here. I think Klee is a great unit. I got her. She's amazing. I just don't like playing her. She's not a lot of fun in my opinion. She does do some good damage, but to me, she's just really boring. She hops around and she throws bubble balls, which if you like doing that, more power to you. Put her in your S tier. Then we've got Razer. Where's my boy? Good boy. I love Razer. Razer's my favorite unit. And if I could, I'd put him up here. But there are some downfalls of maining Razer, and that is that his damage output, it's by the time that it would take me to take his current level at level 90 with a Wolf's Gravestone to be able to obtain 100k damage like some of these other builds. I have to be honest about that. It would take me a lot longer than by the time that other team would just unload like a big poop on the other team, okay? So I have to be honest in the fact that he, yes, is a great unit, can pretty much clear all content, is slower than some of the higher content stuff like Abyss 12, for instance. Like if we were comparing him to Diluc is always going to be the clear winner just because the stats are scaled higher. Duh. But also Diluc is lucky in the sense that he's got crit rate like a boss. Can't wait for Xiao. Can't wait to just hold that crit rate over every other character's head. We're just gonna keep him. We're gonna keep Diluc up there. Diluc's just incredible. I don't have him, so if you do, good for you. I don't, and I'm still happy. Not really. Then we got Albedo. Now, this is the thing, okay, guys? If you see me in stream, which is twitch.tv/Murflex, if all y'all want to know, it's the greatest place to go in your spare time when I'm streaming. I don't like Geo, okay? I've mentioned that multiple times. I don't like Geo. I hated it. I just was like, they just seem underpowered. I don't like that it doesn't synergize well with other units. I could not have been more wrong. I can admit that I'm wrong, because I'm human. Albedo, A tier for sure. I think he is an incredible sub DPS support unit. He has the ability to do his damage over time mechanic as long as you're damaging every 2 seconds within his bubble. And at C0 specifically, he works extremely well as a support unit. And my team with Razer is actually slightly slower just because I haven't built him fully. But even using a free-to-play weapon, the weapon that the game gives you, honestly, I don't know, man. I'm struggling between putting him on A and S tier right now because I just feel like the game, like from an ease of use, and if you got him, he is an incredibly good first draw. And he's a great support unit. Like the fact that he can elevate your team if you need to. Like let's say you, like there's certain bosses in the game that they're going to hit the ground and you got to get out. Okay, you got a GTFO. And he provides you a mechanic to do that, much like Venti, right? And we put Venti in the S tier because Venti is just incredible, right? Because he increases damage for the other units. He is an incredible damage dealer himself. And his ability recharges insane. Synergy recharges his substat. But his hold mechanic does a ton of damage, okay? Lots and lots of damage. And the swirl damage he does it's just good. He's just a good unit, right? So I would say that between these two, though, like obviously Venti does a significantly impressive amount of damage compared to. And for that, I would have to say, but Albedo also, he only has a 40 charge rate for his burst, and his regular skill is available every few seconds, and it does some pretty decent damage for just throwing it out on a switch. But his burst ability can scale pretty damn high too. I think I have him built attack, and crit rate right now. He's rocking like 37 crit and 90% crit damage at a level 70 with the free-to-play weapon. And his burst is popping out 15k on an AoE. But then on top of that, he's throwing out shields, useful. He allows you to elevate yourself to do a drop mechanic, which with Xiao, oh my gosh, I don't know how to talk. Xiao is going to be really nice unless you're trying to use like the footloose mechanic. Just kidding, it's called footstool. But if you're using the footstool mechanic, but I mean, that just gives you an additional way of being able to be up in the air. I don't know, to me, he just seems like a good unit to have. So I'm a little stuck with him. I'm going to put him back down here for now. No, we're not. We're going to keep him right here. Don't go back. Ayaka, I don't know much about her yet in terms of if she's going to be sub DPS or main DPS. I don't think if anyone really knows much about her. We all know that Xiao's supposed to be main DPS. Knowing what we know about Ganyu, which we're just going to throw her up here because she just shits damage as well. Based on what we've seen with Ganyu with the power creep finally starting to enter this gacha game, Xiao and Ayaka can both be destined for that same role. I'm just surprised Huta's not on here. But then we got Bennett. You know what, first, let's actually talk about Ganyu. Ganyu's insane. I don't have her. I could get her potentially. I'm about at my pity, but I'm saving for Xiao. And the reason for that is that I already have Chi-Chi. And Chi-Chi's also an insane support. And she's what I need right now for my team comps, right? Like I've got a Razer main comp, and then I've got my Chongyon main comp. Now I could throw her in there with Chongyon, it would increase DPS, and it would probably be a pretty nice significant difference. However, then I would have to change my healer in the event that I need one, and the only one currently in the game is going to be basically Barbara, Bennett. Who's the other one? Iona, which I don't really want to have 3 cryos in one team. So it would just kind of throw off my comp, even though it would, I would add some DPS to it. I also like the video showcases of her abilities. They're all using her best in slot, and they're all using her like C6. So yes, when she's constellated, it goes high. But I would just have to say that, yes, her damage scaling is already really impressive. Hopefully she does not get nerfed. I don't see that coming, but if she doesn't, then that's starting the generation gap between units. And I would have to assume that Xiao and Ayaka would follow suit, being as powerful. Otherwise, they would be screwing up significantly. Unless they brought her damage down. So as a damage dealer, she's the only damage dealing cryo besides Chongyon. Yeah. No, it's good. It's good, it's good, it's good. Bennett, insane support. Basically can boost anybody's attack percentage. Can heal at the same time. Works really well with units that can crowd control into a specific place. Song's running too fast. I think Bennett is just an incredible unit as is, so. Plus his energy recharge is built into his kit, and you can build additional energy recharge, but the highest damage weapon output that you have on him to increase the attack percentage for your entire team standing within the circle. He's used in almost every single melt and vaporize comp that there is just because of his scaling ability. That's how people are able to put out insane numbers, so of course everybody thinks very highly of him. I love Bennett. I think he's great. I don't use him as a main unit. I use him sometimes when I'm feeling like it, but he's still great to use if those are some of your main units. Currently, I'm not maining either of those, so I don't actually have a Vaporizer Melt team in place. If I were to use him, it would most likely be with a Klee comp, or I would use him with a Mona or Child comp. Which I have used, and that's actually why I built him initially. Moving on to Chongyon, he's definitely an A tier for me. I love Chongyon. Again, though, like, I've had to really look at my team. He was actually probably the most stressful build that I've created, but I have finally gotten to a point where I can do a significant amount of DPS with him. On his burst ability, he's Constellation 6 for me, and I'm looking at most of these units as Constellations at the point that if they've been offered by the banners, just because I think most of us are trying to look at these characters as if we chose them to build. Like, and for 5 stars, it's not the same concept because that's going to cost a ton of money, but for 4 stars, it's a little bit more maintainable. So Chongyon at C6 is absolutely nuts. I enjoy him. He's great. His burst, though, is doing like 55k with the right setup currently, and that's not with any crazy mechanics in place that help these teams at all. I'm sure that we could do more damage. No, actually, I've tried it with a melt, and it really didn't. It did about the same if you change out a Venti for that. But I have him in a double cryo crit team. But if I could manage to put him into a quad element team, I would remove Iona and put Bennett and try out a melt comp on top of it, and I'm sure that that could increase damage as long as his crit rate scaled fine. But I think with the right setup, you could fit him into a really good team, and it's insane the synergy and the rotation that it can have. If you guys haven't checked out my video previously, I actually just posted a video a couple days ago about this, showcasing the build with him, and it works insanely well. I also streamed it last night if you want to check that out as well. Iona, I think she's amazing. I have her C6 as well. She's insane. I'm sad for Amber though. Dude, D, bro, like, focus. You can't be upset about Amber, bro. She's in the D section for delicious. We got C for charismatic. We got B for beautiful. A for amazing. And S for superior. Okay? It's okay. They're all good in their own way. You know what I mean? And dude, don't get me wrong. There's actually like really, I mean, she's a solid support. It's just, you have to think of separation. And unfortunately, she's kind of by herself like she was in the beginning of the game. Official used to be an S tier for me originally, but I think with some of the newer units and people building some of these other units, there's just been more superior options than her. She does some great damage over time. She's a great energy battery for Razer. Her recharge is really high. She can cause AoE. She does damage over time with your units, which that's always a huge plus for me because that falls into the boat like Albedo or Jingqi, which is over here. So I always like units that can help do damage over time effects. Like those are like an instant positive for me. Or Kaya. I shouldn't forget about Kaya. Jean, I don't have Jean personally. I wish I did. I think she's incredible because she plays 2 roles, okay? Anytime a unit plays 2 roles, they're instantly better for me. The fact that she plays 2 of the most critical roles that we see the least variation in, which is like basically full healer to an extent with her burst, as well as her being an Anemo character, she fits 2 slots. If D is for deletion, so I'm confused. Absolutely, dude. You can't be upset with this tier list at the end of it because no matter what, it stands for something positive, which is what we're all about. But yeah, Jean can basically play both roles. Like, to me, the only time you wouldn't use her is if you needed another healer. Like, if you had Chi-Chi in my Razer comp, for example, I would not use Jean in that comp because I know that improving elemental damage in general is just not going to benefit the team as much as putting that all into physical damage increase. So that's the only situation, is when elemental damage increasing isn't really a concept in your team build. But other than that, she's superior in the fact that she plays 2 critical roles in all team designs, or most team designs, I should say. Kaya's grown on me just in based on like learning a little bit more about the kits and the way that they're used. I wish I would have built him originally. I would have to say he's definitely a B tier because as much as he does damage over time, he requires too much rotation in order to be useful. And for me, if a unit is going to be utilized for their skills to then swap out of them, I don't want to have to rotate back to them within the next 10 seconds. Like, I want to be able to use it up to 15 if I can. And there's, you know, units like Fischl who can get it up to 12 seconds. You've got Chi-Chi, who I think it's 15 seconds. Gosh, who else? Bennett's Bubble, I think, is 10 seconds. His is on the lower side. Albedo's is 30 seconds. Like, there's just units that have a superior time range. If they increase the amount of time that is, I think it's his burst ability, was in effect, I think that would be solid. Or if they like increase the amount of time that his like skill left cryo element around, that would make him more useful. But currently, B. You're a B boy. And then we got Ching, which I've heard she's amazing for DPS. I just don't think that Electro has had the best luck with defeating Pyro and Hydro in the grand scheme of things, just because of the damage output, time to kill. I think that some of these units can just come in and just sweep it up. And I think the more units like Ganyu, the Diluc Melts, the Child Vaporize, the Mona Vaporize, like all of those just kind of wash out anything that is damage over time related. And Electro plays that role really well because of Electro Charge, as well as with the Cryo element being delivered for Superconduct. So still an amazing unit. So don't get me wrong, these are all amazing units, but what I'd say, Mona, you're water. You go up there. I don't think we really need to talk about Moda. She's just incredible. She does some insane. She's got a taunt, which is extremely useful in certain abyss floors. She also has the ability, her burst rotation is really easy because energy recharge actually increases her how much damage she does by I think like 20% of her energy recharge is the amount of percentage she gets to increase. Actually, no, it's scaled based on it. So it gives you an additional incentive to add energy recharge into her kit and build her that way, because you get 2 birds with 1 stone. On top of that, you get her burst back really quickly. Her burst can scale significantly, even more so than I think Child's. I've seen some people do damage videos in like, I want to say it was like 300 or 400k. Probably actually more than that at this point, but obviously that's with the Bennett Sucrose, and it might have been Barbara set up with the Thrilling Tales. But again, she's an incredible unit for that. And her rotation time, if you get it right, with the Favonius Codex or the, is it the Sacred? No, it's I think Skyward Atlas. She can just do an insane amount of damage, and then if you build her around her crit. Ningguang, I would say S tier for sure. And a lot of people have shown this part differently. Ningguang was like a secret killer that I knew she was going to be deadly. When I saw Zhang Ling, I was like, I don't think it's Zhang Li that people are focusing on the wrong unit. I was like, I guarantee you Ning Wang is going to come out and just shit damage with shields when they bring out like Retracing Bolide and Archaic Petra. And I was not wrong. Like, I've seen her doing some massive damage for a 4-star. Like, some massive damage. And if you kit her right with like the Memory of Dust, you have, oh god, just so much damage. It does take a little bit of getting used to, but I think that she's an extremely solid unit. So for Geo units, Geo teams, she would be my primary. If I was to build her, I'd probably build her. Honestly, I might even build her with Albedo at this point. I like Zhang Li, but he's just not my favorite right now. I dig that he's an adult character. He's like one of the only ones that I feel like looks dope as hell. Actually, Diluc does too. And Xiao. Xiao looks fucking dope as shit. And then there's Jean. I lied to you guys. They all look cool. Zhang Li, dude, I'm not gonna lie. You're kind of in my B tier right now in my heart, but you deserve to be A tier because I know what you can do from a damage standpoint. Because at least you say that Amber is the only unit that will be in her own tier list. That's true. She's A-okay. One of a kind in the D column. Sucrose, another one people will disagree with me on, and that's okay. I think she's an S tier. The reason I think she's an S tier is because people be looking at Mona and Child up here in the S tier together like, oh my gosh, they do so much damage. Oh my goodness, look at that. It was like 300,000. It's insane. And it's like, are you for real right now? Like, do you not see these two units in every single one of these videos? Like, do you even understand what's happening right now? Don't let them bait you with that. They're just trying to get you, invested. It's these two right here. These are the trick. These are a trap. Okay. Sucrose increases elemental mastery based on a percentage of the amount of elemental mastery she carries. If you put a really easy to get sacrificial fragments, okay, on the gotcha 4-star weapon, okay, her elemental mastery can be pretty damn significant. I think she's like got a 60 sacrificial or a 50 sacrificial and is at the base of a 4-star unit right now. And on top of that, I think her 1-star ascension also gives an additional elemental mastery on a certain switch over the course of time. So it basically improves all of your elemental reaction damage by, I would have to say, roughly between 100 and 150% for like the swirly shit. And I don't remember the rest for the others. But I think for the vaporize and stuff like that, it's like a 50 to 90% increase, if I'm not wrong. But y'all can correct me on that if you'd like. It's still significant for that type of damage. And then you got, that's just what she does alone. Then you got Bennett throwing out his little circle, his little pentagon circle. Pentagon, what is it? I don't know. Hexagon, pexagon, pentagon, whatever ignorant shit I'm trying to come up with right now. He throws a circle on the ground, prays to the lords to give him damage, and then instead of doing it himself, he gives it to a friend. And it's one of these. Mona or Child. And then, instead, if they want to give it to Diluc, all they got to do is, what, switch to it. What is it, Cryo? Cryo for melt? Yeah. You just switch a little Chi-Chi in there. Maybe throw in some Iona. And you're good to go. Melt it up. So, that's my opinion. Or you could probably even use Kaya in that. I think it'd probably be easier to use. Probably Iona. Actually, no. You just use Ganyu now. Ganyu's the cheat code for that. You want everybody to be affected with ice? There you go. Simple as that. Then you got Jing Chi. Jing Chi's insane in the membrane. Everybody put Jing Chi as a freaking B class in all their tier lists up until like a week ago. And I knew I should have made a video on him because he's literally like my new second favorite unit. He is the reason that the 4-star characters have a chance at being main DPS. Okay? Jing Chi adds so much damage to your main DPS when they are on the field that it just drains shit. You can take down ruin guards in one rotation. You can take down the floating ruin guards in one rotation. There's only like the big bad mofos can you not just take down significantly. And then we got Zhang Ling. We're going to put her down here with Amber just because she needs a friend. But in reality, she's actually what I would consider an A tier. And the reason that I would put some of these in A tier isn't necessarily due to power, but out of the usability case. Some of these units, like Keqing, for example, only does damage while she's on the field. Zhang Ling has 2 abilities that allow her to do significant pyro damage, and she's built on elemental mastery, which helps the reaction that she's causing while her abilities are acting when she's off the field. So, because of that, she's getting some major increases to damage output in her kit that make her extremely useful as a support DPS unit. So this would be my tier list of 1.2 going into 1.3, not knowing jack about Xiao or Ayaka, but we can all assume that Xiao will follow suit with Ganyu. We can assume that Ayaka, having so much attention brought to these 2 specific units 5 months in advance, like they better do it right. So I would say like this would be my tier list going in right now. For the video purposes, let me know what you think, and down in the comments below what you would change, who you think is different based on your experiences, and why. Maybe I'm overlooking something. Maybe I should take a deeper look at something. But based on what I know about these units, they can either do one of 2 things. They can buff some of the aspects to the element. They can buff certain aspects to specific teams, or units, or they could change specific skill kits in the way they operate, much like they're doing with Zhang Ling. So the reason I'm keeping Zhang Ling where he's at is because when he goes to his Ascension 4 and his HP percentage increases his burst, it does a significant change to his DPS overall. Them enhancing that to some of his other abilities should also help improve that as well. But I really think that Xiao is going to outshine him in that space, sadly. But we shall see. But thank you so much for checking out my tier list. My first one ever. It's complete, guys. This is where we're going to... But seriously, thank you all for all that you do. I appreciate all your support, especially you, Focus, and Johans. I appreciate both of you. And Nom. Nom's a great. Nom's the greatest. And Mez. Appreciate all of you. How about that?